Hey guys, how the hell are you? Time for an all-new iFAQ video, iFAQ number 23, and we've got some really good questions for you on this one. So let's not waste any time, let's just get right into the first question. I just got into audio production, just guitar recording at home, and I feel like I'm kind of hitting a wall with the sound of my mix and tones. Any chance that in the future you might do a stream or video of a mix? Maybe where you already have all your DIs and parts tracked and you just show start to finish how you mix a track? So this is a fantastic question, and it's kind of funny. Like, don't get me wrong, I might do a stream or a video of this at a later time and, you know, go over it in a little bit finer detail, but for right now, I'm gonna break it down for you, and I'm gonna be as bluntly honest with you guys as possible. And please understand, what I'm about to say is what I do for like all the guitar gear demos, the cover song videos, all that sort of stuff. This is pretty much all the music that you guys hear on this channel. This is not including what I did for like the Voided EP or like any of the stuff I'm working on that I'm trying to get finished for you guys so I can release some new music. But this is for the stuff that I put on the channel. I don't mix shit, really, to be honest with you. It's literally something where I find a kick-ass tone that I like on the amp that I'm using or on the amp sim that I'm using, and I just record. In 2 Notes Wall of Sound, I find a cabinet that I really like the tone of, and maybe a second cabinet that I really like the tone of, and I blend them just a little bit, usually one a little bit higher than the other. The mics that I use in 2 Notes Wall of Sound, 99% of the time is going to be whatever ribbon mic is available for that particular cab. And I set it at 1% centered, 1% distance, and then I just adjust levels in 2 Notes Wall of Sound from there. As far as bass goes, I just use Neural DSP. I either use the Dark Glass or I use the Parallax, usually the Parallax. And for the drums, I just use Superior Drummer. I find a kick-ass preset that I like in whatever drum kit I'm using. And I might tweak a few things as far as just selecting different items. Like I might select a different cymbal here, or maybe a different snare, maybe even different kicks or something. But I pretty much just kind of pick a producer preset and leave it alone for the most part. And then I just adjust volumes. That's literally all I do. I don't really mess with a lot of post EQ or compression. Hardly at all, to be honest with you. When you guys hear the music that is in the videos, I literally just found something I liked, press record, and fucking went. But yeah, dude, that was a fantastic question. Thank you for asking it. Good day, Arnold. Really getting into these iFAQ videos. My question: how did you create the spiky Arnold Plays Guitar logo for your channel? So I bought one. I bought the services of a logo designer. There's tons of killer logo designers on Instagram and on Facebook. All you gotta do is just look for them. In the case of the Arnold Plays Guitar logo, I went with Brutal Disorder Logos. That's the actual name of the guy that does it. I don't really think he's too active on Instagram, but he's extremely active on Facebook. He also does cover art and stuff like that too, but predominantly he's a logo artist. I definitely recommend hitting him up, but if you're not really going for that style, just go on Instagram, just start searching for hashtag metal logo and see what pops up. You're into Framus. Have you ever tried a Framus D Series? Are they worth a chance? They are extremely worth a chance because, yeah, even though it's predominantly made in China, it's still quality controlled through Framus's in-house team in Germany. And honestly, I have gotten a chance to hold a few Framus D Series models in my hands and actually play them a little bit. They are a hell of a bang for the buck. I wholeheartedly recommend checking one of those things out. I think that I'm still of the opinion though that like the team built and the master built series are leaps and bounds better and are totally worth every penny, but the D series is totally worth every penny too. It's just different levels. Kind of like what I was talking about last week with regards to ESP LTD and E2, but obviously this is Framus, so it's at substantially higher levels of quality in my opinion for each of the different lines. I actually really like the D series. I think they're fantastic. My bro, another Aristides question. No wood are used in them, but they still come with truss rods. Have you ever needed to use the truss rod on an Aristides? Honestly, no. I mean, I understand why it's there. It's there because any material really can kind of bend and flex a little bit depending on climate. Really, having that truss rod is it's kind of like insurance. You don't really anticipate needing it, but thank God it's there. Nice again. Arnold, how do you primarily listen to your music? Smartphone plus headphones, dedicated stereo, boombox, car, something else? When I'm upstairs in my studio and maybe playing games on my gamer PC or something like that, oftentimes I'll just put on Spotify here and listen to music there. We do have a record player downstairs. I do own some vinyl. My wife owns some vinyl too, and we do occasionally put some on from time to time. Most of the time, I'm just listening to music in my car on the way to and from work because I've got a decent commute to and from work, and I get to check out a lot of really cool stuff. So I touched base on this in a previous video. Definitely check me out on Instagram, Arnold Plays Guitar. I post my drive time playlist every day on the way to work, and you guys can see what I'm listening to. Usually my way back is when I'm actually checking out a bunch of new releases that have come out because I always like listening to new stuff. So yeah, that's how I primarily listen to music. I do have a pair of Bluetooth little earbuds made by Sony that I love. I love the sound on those things, but I don't really use them all that much. For the most part, I just listen to music in my car. Opinion on Carillion Guitars. One of the top guys out there in my opinion, and I love what he's doing by being one of the few to provide a truly handmade guitar. I am really curious and interested to try a Carillion because like he's definitely really super high on my want list as far as wanting to check one out here on the channel. Definitely one of those ones that I need to get my hands on at some point because so many killer players that I have mad respect for play those things now, and like I would think that they would totally live up to expectations, but I want to actually get my hands on one. At this point, I've only actually just kind of seen one. I've never even actually held one. So yeah, hopefully at some point here in the future, I would love to get one on this channel. I would love to give you guys an honest, unbiased review on one. So fingers crossed. I got a question. Something I'm struggling with is how much fit and finish errors should you expect and tolerate in guitars at different price points? My very first Squire had no such problems as far as I remember. My 300-ish Ibanez and Court had almost perfect fit and finish. My 400, 500-ish Schecter were great, but then my 1000-ish Schecter had a blemish in the lacquer. Another 1K plus Schecter has cracks in the binding and inlays, almost as if the more expensive my guitars and basses get, the more finish problems they have. Since you always go in great detail about these things in reviews, I'd really like to know your take on that. I'll be straight up honest with you, man. It sounds like you are just having the worst fucking luck imaginable. Because in my experience, I typically find a lot more problems on lower cost instruments versus higher cost ones. To me, I think it's as soon as you get to like higher cost instruments, that's when you need to put your foot down and say, nope, this is not fucking okay. Now, fit and finish issues. It depends on what we're referring to. If we're referring to like problems with the finish, for example, my first question would be, does it affect playability? Because if it affects playability, then honestly over like, I don't know, $500, $700, if it's making it so that you don't even want to pick up the guitar and play it, that is unacceptable. If it's just something that's like a minor inconvenience, doesn't really affect playability so much, that's far more forgivable to me. I think that like once you get to a certain price point, it needs to be something where a lot of build quality issues are really taken to task with the builder. And I know this is something that has become a point of contention in a few of my videos, in the comments section even, but like when an instrument is over like $3,000, for example, in my opinion, build quality should be 100% perfect across the board. And I'm talking strictly about build quality, meaning there shouldn't be problems with the finish, there shouldn't be problems with the fretwork, there shouldn't be problems with how the hardware is fitted, there shouldn't be problems with the routing, there should not be problems with, you know, honestly, the most basic of things. Like, should have been gone over with enough of a fine-tooth comb that if a problem was found, it was dealt with before it arrived into your hands as the person who bought it and as the person who's playing it. Now, if it's something like just, oh, you pick it up and, yeah, you know, I don't really care for this finish or whatever, that's on you. At that point, you know, that's just down to your personal preference not gelling with that particular instrument. A lot of you guys have asked me about Aristides in the past, for example, and I love Aristides instruments. I think that they're absolutely fucking amazing. That being said, I will be the first person to say they are not for everybody. It's definitely an instrument that a few people that have like come over to my pad back when I lived in California or since I've moved here, there's been people that have tried my Aristides instruments and have been like, you know, it's just not doing it for me. And that's fine. It's not for you. It's not at all to say that that guitar is not a good instrument. Quite the contrary. Aristides instruments are fucking perfection in instrument building. But something didn't gel with that particular player. And even though it's like, you know, 3,000, 4,000 and up on that instrument, you know, it's just that particular player doesn't find a matching instrument in an Aristides. And, you know, that's what I'm kind of referring to there. If it's something involving build quality, you know, frets not leveled, frets sharp, finish work kind of half-assed or whatever, glue stains here or there, that's kind of unacceptable over $3,000. Once you get below that, I think it's a matter of personal taste and personal preference and what you let bother you. Like, I've got instruments here that are sub $1,000 that I would say are absolutely perfect in terms of their build quality, but they feel like cheaper instruments compared to like my Framus, for example, or my Aristides, for example, or some of the other customs that I've had here. It's more of like an X factor that's really super difficult to quantify. Getting back to your question though, regarding build quality, at certain price points, you need to be a lot more forgiving. You know, $300, $400, $500, no one should be expecting a fantastic fucking perfect instrument. However, what I will say is no matter what price point it is, you should always 100% be expecting a playable instrument. So if there's something about it that is just like you cannot intonate something, You cannot set it up so that it stays in tune. The neck is warped. Absolutely all of that is unacceptable at any price point. You ever thought of doing random cheap-ass gear of the week? Some of us can't afford anything besides cheap Chinese gear, LOL. Honestly, no, because I just don't really feel like bringing that much cheap gear here. I like a lot of the more expensive stuff. I like a lot of more mid-tier stuff. I think that part of the problem with a lot of the cheaper gear is weeding through the shit to get to the awesome stuff, you know? And sometimes it's on a brand to brand, sometimes it's on a model to model basis. You know, sometimes you just have to hack your way through this briar patch of garbage to get to the diamonds in the rough, so to speak. I don't feel like going through that process. I apologize, but it's just something that I don't want to waste the money doing. I don't want to necessarily get involved with a lot of those companies. And a lot of those companies have actually hit me up about demoing their products. I'm not going to name names, but a few of them have reached out like, hey, pick a guitar, we'll send it to you. And not interested, really. You know, it's just not something that has really resonated with me as something that I want to put on this channel. I understand that you want to check out cheaper gear, but it's just not something I would enjoy doing, and I think that that would come through in the video that I end up posting. So there, that's my answer. What cars do you own? I am a convert to the hybrids. So I was definitely one of those people that I was like, man, I don't want to get a hybrid. I just feel like you know that episode of South Park where they talk about the smug that is in and around San Francisco of all these people that drive Priuses? You know, I kind of felt like that was a reality. Like that was a real thing from people that I knew that drove Priuses. And I was just like, man, I don't want to be one of those fucking people. But then, you know, we got a Honda Insight back in the day, and we still have it. It's 10 years old, still driving, ever as fucking dependable as ever. It's a killer car. We hardly ever have to fill it up. We save a ton of money on gas, a ton of money on maintenance. I mean, what's not to love about that vehicle? So much so that, like, okay, I sold my car that I had when I lived in the Bay Area. I was driving a Fiat 500. Boy, what a mistake that was. Yeah, I was driving a Fiat 500. A few of you guys that live around the Bay Area may have seen it driving around. It said on the back, this car is powered by death metal. Haha, so funny. But I got rid of it because I kind of felt like the maintenance, once it passed the warranty period, the maintenance got like super expensive, and I was like, this is not worth it. So I sold it before we moved out here. These days I drive a Hyundai Ioniq, and I fucking love that car. It's been so good to me so far in the year and a half that I've owned it. I get insanely good gas mileage on it. I usually get about 54 miles to the gallon on it. Here's the thing I love about it too. For everyone that thinks that hybrids don't have any acceleration, that they don't have get up and go, you need to try a Hyundai Ioniq, because that is like the perfect car for somebody that thinks that. I don't know what the 0 to 60 is on the Hyundai Ioniq, but it's gotta be pretty goddamn high up there, especially for a hybrid. I love that vehicle. I love the sound system that's in it. I think it sounds really, really killer. I love having the Apple CarPlay that's in there. I think that it's got all the safety features I could ever possibly want as kind of the shitty driver that I am. So, I mean, I love that vehicle. I think it's fantastic. And now it's time for this week's Troll of the Week. And this week's Troll of the Week, you know, kind of treading the same water that a lot of other guys tread, so let's just get right on into it. You know what the most annoying thing in the world is? millennials who feel the need to put their hair in a ponytail or a man bun when they don't have enough hair to justify one, plus the cock rings in your ears and all the tats. You look like a fucking cartoon character. Lay off the empty carbs, muffin top. You know, it's just so sad that that's what you get out of this. It doesn't matter that I'm doing a video about like a piece of guitar gear trying to let people know, you know, if it's worth their money or not, trying to provide a decent service to you guys. But nope, fuck this guy. He's got plugs in his ears. Fuck this guy. He's got long hair and tattoos. You know what? Kiss my dick. I'm happy with the fucking way I am, and you know what? If you're not happy with the way I am, that's on you. Go fuck yourself. So thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I love you guys so much, and I love the support that you show me by tuning in week after week to check these videos out. Like this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Please find me all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, Untapped, a few other places here or there. The screen name is always the same, Arnold Plays Guitar. And remember, take what you do seriously, but do not take yourself too seriously.